So from IBM TV's world headquarters in Raleigh, Durham, we welcome you to the Chess Channel. Hi, I'm your host, Nick Paleveda, along with Kim Calhoun, and today we have two very special guests from our Seattle, Washington area, and from Uganda, we have Elliot, Neff, and Robert, how do you pronounce your last name? Katenda.
Robert Katenda.
How do you say that again?
Robert Katenda.
Katenda, right. He is the king of Catway. As a matter of fact, for those who've seen the Disney movie, The Queen of Catway, this guy was the chess coach for the Queen of Catway. So Robert, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Nick.
Right, yes, and we did just
welcome,
a brief
Robert. I'm so honored to meet you. This is great. I work with so many chess players, and I'm learning. You know, Elliot, I've learned a lot by reading his book. I've learned what all of this means. But you are a chess master,
right?
A global chess master. Yes, and you've taught a lot of people how to play chess.
Yeah, definitely. I'm a chess instructor and coach, so I impacted thousands of lives through chess, and some of them have actually become chess champions, but most of them are life champions.
Life champions.
What
Okay.
inspired you to do this?
My biggest inspiration came from my childhood, how I grew up, and having been able to strive through to go to college and get the training. I decided to go back and see how I can be a contribution to the community by helping the learners, especially those going through the situations as I did go through as a child. So this has been my greatest inspiration to see how that is happening. So it's quite remarkable to see what has turned out to be now, to see Disney coming in to capture the stories of impact and transformation that the program has been able to realize.
Now you grew up in Uganda, right? Is that the story?
Yes, born, nurtured, and made from Uganda.
Okay, so when did you learn to play chess? I mean, you know, chess pieces are floating all around the United States. How do you learn to play chess in Uganda?
Yeah, chess is actually a very foreign game in Uganda. It came in through the missionaries from UK, and it was believed to be a game of people who have actually had a connection to abroad, whether US, whether UK, in Europe. But somehow I got fortunate to learn to play it when I was in high school, because we were in a very good school where we had some students who had at least those big connections. So I got to connect to chess when I was in high school.
Okay, so you actually started playing in high school, and then you got serious about it, or did you go to college and then start continue playing, or how'd that work?
Yeah, at first I thought it was a coincidence for me to connect to chess, but I think it wasn't. It was just a divine appointment for me to get to connect to it. Reason being, when I interfaced with chess, I didn't even know what it was, but I simply found students playing it, and I asked them, "Hey guys, what is that?" And they told me this was a game of intellectuals, game of clever people, and they actually challenged me to go and continue to play my football, which is called soccer here in the US. I took it as a challenge because they knew me as a famous soccer player, but
wait, time out. You're a soccer player too, so you play soccer and chess. Is that the deal?
Football. It's called football.
Football, right? Yeah.
And I was so much famous and known in the whole school for soccer. And when I to them, they told me, Robert, this is a game of intellectuals. You can't continue to play your soccer. So I took that as a challenge because I was really doing well in my grading and my classes, and I was having nicknames like mathematician, brainy, and I was wondering how come I can be regarded as a brainy and I don't know how to play a game of clever people. So I took it as a challenge to learn how to play, not for the sake of the game, but just to prove, no, I'm the best in my class. That's why I know even how this game goes.
Okay. Yeah. And you got an engineering degree too. I hear there's no degree at the end of that rainbow, but you actually received an engineering degree too. Is that true?
Yes, I really very much prioritize academics. I worked so hard in my education, and I was able to actually get a government scholarship on merit to go for the university. So I joined the college for an engineering degree, and I was able to achieve that.
Okay, so how did you become the king of Catway? I mean, we all know about the queen of Catway, Disney, famous, worldwide. Everybody knows the queen of Catway, chess player. But you're the king of Catway. You're the teacher. How did you become the teacher? How did that happen?
Yeah, it was something which I didn't know that it would eventually turn out to be my occupation, actually, to become a chess teacher. But because I knew how to play chess and I was looking for the opportunities to get a job in my field of training, but it was not forthcoming. So I decided to voluntarily be doing some sports ministry work in my community as I waited upon an opportunity to get my job in my training field. Unfortunately, that was not coming up. So I continued with the chess. That's when I introduced chess in the slums, because by the time I graduated, I had a chessboard. So I started with that one chessboard, and I engaged the youths I had access to. And we started simply like that on a veranda, engaging them on a daily basis. A year later, it became a big program. I started even looking for possibilities of them going into some tournaments. So as it is portrayed in the movie, Queen of Catray, so it started so simple with one chessboard. And right now we are able to actually have over 10,000 chessboards impacting over 4,000.
Congratulations.
Wow. And how did Disney find out about you? Because Disney is way over here. It's in La La Land. I mean, California. How did Disney get to Uganda? I mean, they don't even, do people in Disney even know where Uganda is? You said, hello, Disney, we play chess here. How'd that happen?
Yeah, this is the power of connection, actually, I can say. That's why I kind of attach this to a divine connection somehow. But anyway, it all unfolded by, I was volunteering with Sports Outreach, and Sports Outreach, the founder, Dr. Raska, is actually based here in the US in Lynchburg, Virginia. So I used to write reports and tell him what I was doing in Uganda. And when he heard that I was doing a chess program, he said, "Oh, Robert, I'll try to see how I can support you." So every month he was sending me $50 to support my work. Then I could provide porridge to the children, I'd buy sugar canes and some snacks to keep them active in the program. So 5 years later, I had my bunch of the first kids, 3 of them representing the country in a continental event. For me, it was a big deal, because getting from the slums, and they were really performing so well. They went represented Uganda in Sudan. This turned out to be an amazing performance. They were the champions for the event. They got gold medals. So I wrote a report to Dr. Russ to let them know at their office that, oh, the program had this kind of participation and the kids made wonders. So this simple report is the one which ended up in the hands of a journalist. And the journalist is called Tim Crothers, who used to write for ESPN Illustrator magazine. So he reached out to ESPN and said, "Hey guys, I have a story which I want to go and find out how much of it is true." So that's how he ended up in Uganda to write an article in the ESPN magazine. And as you know, ESPN is owned by Disney. So that's how the whole connection comes in. So afterwards, when the journalist came, he realized that it was more than an article. Seeing the impact in the community, the way people were living, and how chess was really instilling hope and transforming lives, he decided to come back and pursue an opportunity of writing a book about the whole program. That's how the Queen of Catray book came up, which the movie was based on.
So the book came out first, then the movie came out. Yes. Is that right? Is that what happens? Okay. Now
usually what happens next.
Yeah, usually. Okay. So, and then of course now he's made it big time. He's on IBMtv. Yeah. You don't get bigger than that, but that's another story. Now, Uganda. Let's talk a little bit about Uganda and Kampala. Where is that? Can you see the map on the screen, by the way? Can you see the map?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Talk to us a little about Kampala, Uganda.
Your journey. Talk to us a little bit about your journey.
Yeah, your journey here.
Yeah, Kampala is a landlocked country, just as you see the map, and it's having over close to 50 million people right currently, and of which almost 80% of them are below 40 years. So it is dominated by the youths and youths who are really craving for opportunities.
By the way, just time out here for the audience. 50 million people is a lot of people. So for example, I think California's population is like 39 million. So Uganda has 50 million. Canada's around 39 million also. Uganda has 50 million. So just get that there's a lot of people in Uganda. So you know that. Plus 18.5 million are on the internet and could be watching this show. But go on, we'll keep continuing about Uganda. Young people.
Yes,
You know,
and
they're not like us. Okay.
there is a lot of potential, of course, but somehow because of the war insurgencies that have actually so much crippled the development in the country, and also the scourge of HIV, AIDS that really has been so much of an effect and challenging so many youth, has claimed so many lives. That's why you find that we have, it's one of the youngest countries in terms of age in the world. I think we are now #2 as the youngest population in the world. So that's why it is dominated by the youth and who are craving for opportunities. Some of them are always by themselves. And that's how I think it's very, very important to try to see how we can empower and look out to see how we reach out to these youths to try to provide them a better future so that we can change the kind of lifestyle that is being lived right now of survival and be able to now allow them to dream.
So yeah, go on, Kim.
Go ahead. Okay, thanks. So what I find fascinating is that you're doing something that's not just teaching them how to play a game, but you also teach them life skills, right? I mean, you're applying the game, but when you're there, you're inspiring them in so many other ways. What are some of the things that you are adding to your program that helps them out? Like you were talking about, you know, how the diseases have taken over the country in some ways and so many lives have been lost. Are you educating them about those things while you are teaching them the game of chess?
Yeah, thank you very much, Kimberly. Actually, that is the core of my program. The biggest actually core of it, or what I call my philosophy, is to integrate the concepts that we teach through chess into lifestyle. So basically, chess is a platform, and so much focusing on what maybe I can call the soft skills into these learners, and I call it the human software, because these are values that determine their steps in life. So the biggest component of it all is to integrate the values and concepts learned through chess into their life to become problem solvers in their day-to-day life situations, to face adversities and figure out how to go through them, being responsible for each and every decision that they take on a daily basis in life, just as they stay accountable to their decisions in life as well as on the chessboard. So just give them a platform where we are able to train them into these virtues. And I always, in every day or every month, we have a theme, and I take them through an experiential learning process where they experience a situation on the chessboard, whether it is losing a piece, whether it is losing a critical piece, and then we see how we can reflect on that in a discussion, and we talk about that. Then we transit now from the chessboard into life, what they have actually lost in life, how they felt, how they dealt with the situation, and how they should prepare for certain kind of occurrences of such situations. Then we go into the theory where we can see the applications, people who have gone through these same things, and then how can they live out their lives in case they get to interface with such kind of situations. So that's the core of it all, that is to prepare them, allow them to think critically, initiate ideas, and then learn the process of getting them executed. So I ask them, what do you need to do to better your life? What dreams you have? What are the critical steps you need to take to do? So these are all values we introduce through a chess approach. So they learn, and then after learning from the chessboard, then they can be able to integrate that into their life.
That sounds very familiar, Robert. That sounds very familiar to the guy next to you, Elliot
Yeah, it
Neff.
sounds like your twin.
Yeah,
The United States.
the king of Patley, Elliot. Since Elliot Neff is a chess master, and you never want to play him speed chess, because one year he tied for first at the U.S. Open Speed Championship. Don't play this guy speed chess, but he'll always want to say, "Hey, let's play." You just say, "No, I'm busy." But Elliot also has that same philosophy, and somehow, Elliot, how did you run into the King of Catway? How'd this happen? You're in Seattle. He's in Uganda. It's not like you guys are next door. You know, I'm in Seattle. He's in Uganda.
You know,
I swear, you two are twins from different countries. This is amazing.
Yeah. How'd that happen? How'd you run into the King of Catway?
It's really funny to say that, Kim, because when I heard this story, one of the first things that I said to myself is, this is like my brother on the opposite side of the world, opposite side of the globe, doing the same work to impact people. And so it is an interesting story indeed, which the quick story here is I'm going to reference another movie, Brooklyn Castle, chess movie.
Okay.
That was a movie that was on Kickstarter to help fund it. And right before it did not reach its needed number to make it, I and my brother Raphael at Chess House funded it over the top. So if you watch that movie, you'll see my brother and myself as co-producers, even though I had nothing to do with it other than help it finish.
Okay.
That's what producers do, Elliot. That's what producers do.
We got to get that movie on IBMtv, but go on.
Very nice. So really quickly on this one, I still to this day have never met the producer, but we've talked on the phone.
Wow.
So when Robert's, the book about Fiona Matesi, the Queen of Katwe,
the Queen,
and their story came out, he called me and he said, have you heard of this? I was like, no. He goes, you've got to read this book. So I did. And I was so struck right then about this work that was happening in Uganda. So we asked, what can we do? Can we be part of the book tour, do a fundraiser? And in the room we are sitting in, right here at Chess for Life, Fiona Matesi and Robert came to our fundraiser chess tournament in January of 2014.
Wow. Yeah.
That's how we met. And at that meeting, I simply said to Robert, is there anything else we can do to support the work? And that is where our friendship began. So it has been a joy to be a friend and supporter of the project there for a long time.
Yeah, Robert, that's a bit of a flight. I mean, you just didn't walk across the street to go see Elliot. You went from Uganda all the way to Seattle. And I've been to Seattle just from here, and it's a bit of a flight. So how long did it take you to get from Kampala to Seattle?
Yeah, thank you very much. It takes only 23 hours.
Only 23 hours.
But, even Elliot has actually traveled that distance to come to Uganda as well.
Wow.
True, it works. Actually, I wonder if it's faster going because you get the.
Oh, you're going backwards?
No, you get the tailwind. So it's actually faster to get to Kampala than it is to come back because you get headwinds.
Definitely have to.
Just realize that it's true. I get to your place faster than you get to mine because I get the tailwinds. So
that was my first time flying over the North Pole to go anywhere because we went to Dubai, spent the night, then down to Kampala. So I managed to jump a whole day in 1 minute.
Okay, so Elliot, you've been to Kampala then? Elliot, you went over to Kampala then?
Yes, in 2016, as Fiona was preparing for the World Olympiad, it worked out for me to fly over there to help train her in the women's Ugandan Olympiad team. And so we did that to prepare her for that Olympiad, and it was a whirlwind journey, and I was to be able to help.
Oh my gosh, how fascinating that the two of you do so much, not just in your own countries, but globally. So, okay, so you two both have got a lot of great projects going on from what I hear at the same time. So Robert, tell us a little bit about what you're doing now and moving forward.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kim. Actually, the program has grown so big, right from Katwe, where it started from in 2004. Right now, we are in all the slums of Kampala, having 7 slum centers where we have kids, and each center on an average receives over 300 children per day that we look to. It has actually also been scaled to other regions of the country, into the remote communities of Uganda. Not only in Uganda, actually, it is now gone to other countries. We have programs in Kenya, in Mukuru slums. It's been running for now 5 years. I have started a program. I started a program 4 years back to do with the disabled children. Right now, we have over 50 kids in 2 centers, one in Kampala, one in Nairobi. I call it the differently abled kids program, simply because these are kids, some of them cannot move pieces by themselves, others play using the mouth to move the pieces, but they are able to really also find a neutralizer through the chessboard to try to show their potential. And Actually, right now in Uganda, for the second year, we have a differently abled chess team playing in the top chess national league.
Wow.
Wow. You don't call them disabled, you call them differently abled.
They are differently able. I don't want to call them disabled because all they do, what we are doing with our able hands, they can also do, but in a different way.
That's right. And I'm glad I've learned that term. I learned it in Elliot's book and reading about you. I think it's a beautiful term that we really need to expand on, because for years they keep telling me I have a disability. I like the term different abled so much better. It just gives you so much more positive opportunity out there, And what a word. What a word.
Yeah, actually, when you see, if I can move my chest with my hands, and then for him, he can move the same piece with his mouth. We are all moving a piece, but in a different pattern, in a different way.
Exactly. And you know what? Something I've learned from Elliot is that when you become really good, you don't even need to be able to physically move the pieces. You can play with your mind.
Yeah, Elliot plays blindfold. He goes, move the piece this way, move the piece that way.
That's why it's interesting, because some of these learners, like when they go for the international competitions, like this year in July, we had to go to New Jersey. They played in the world competition and they were able to emerge with silver medals ahead of, they were actually, I think it was Russia that took the gold medal. But they are given an opportunity to even travel internationally to play in such a big events, but they travel with assistance. So it gives an opportunity even someone else who is able-bodied to travel with them to go and assist them to put the pieces.
Yeah.
So this is remarkable to see that happening. But to go back to your question is that right now we have scaled to so many other countries. We are in Rwanda, in Botswana, and even here in US, in Baltimore, we have chess programs and some chess academy that have started, and they are doing very well in the inner cities of West Baltimore, down in Maryland. These programs are really impacting lives, and the philosophy is the same: using chess to transform life and instill.
Okay. I have a question. Okay, do the kids play bug house or double chess? Do you teach your kids to play bug house? Because I used to coach chess, and they just love bug house. So tell me, do the kids in Uganda play bug house?
Let me throw a little story in there. In August 2016, when we were training with the team for the Olympiad, we also met with Robert's team of students who have become the coaches in the slum. So as we went through our training and working with it, I introduced bug house chess. I don't but
did you introduce it to them?
At the time, it was new to most of them, and they immediately loved the game.
They loved it.
Of course, because it's team chess. You take a piece and you pass it to your partner. And it's beautiful for building the skill of checkmate out of nowhere.
And it also, and you know what? It teaches people teamwork, because when you start playing as a team and you lose, you always know it's your partner's fault. That's the reason you lost. Okay, it's never your fault. But
you know why Nick likes that game?
Oh, it's a great game.
Now, Nick, on that one at Chess for Life, we call it sportsmanship and working better together. Because if you lose the game, there's win, there's draw, or there is learn.
Right. Oh, there's no loss. There's learn.
As long as you learn the lesson, and I believe that's really what connects us together on both sides of the world, is the philosophy that chess is not an end goal. It's not a great career, but it is a vehicle that, if it's applied and learned, makes such a difference.
Yes,
it seems like, globally, it's also connecting people that probably would not have been connected before, so that you can just open up and broaden their horizons as well. And, to teach good sportsmanship or social skills, I mean, some of these children that I even see in the United States, they don't get that you don't learn that in school. They don't teach it in school anymore like they used to. So this is really a good foundation. Robert, did Elliot share with you some of his growth that he's doing in the United States and projects that we're working on?
Yeah. We've
so
had a
hopefully
chance
we can kind of connect the worlds. Yeah.
And really, exactly, we're working to impact youth as young as 3- and 4-year-olds.
Exactly.
Mindset already with the decision making, and ultimately we see this as growing 1 million children per week and beyond as we instill the right values. For example, we were driving and talking about this, and Nick, you would really appreciate this probably too, is you can have all these right moves to make.
Yeah.
Yet if you play them in the wrong move order, they're the wrong move.
It's true. You're right.
And so in life, how important is it to be able to think about the steps needed and then sequence them in the right order by thinking ahead? Yet how many people act instead of think beyond 4 years?
Yeah. Now, Robert, the internet is growing very fast in Africa. The demographics we get 11,000% per year usage as people get more on the internet. In Uganda, since there's 18 million people now on the internet, are they playing chess on the internet in Uganda like they're doing here?
Yeah, actually, right now they have started playing chess in Uganda because it's a big move and a big wave ever since the Queen of Katwe movie came up. Actually, I've seen not only in Uganda, but the whole of Africa. Most of the schools have now embraced the game, and they have really appreciated the value that it adds for those who are in academics, for those who are in the marketplace, for those who are in inner working fields, because they see the benefits that it offers. So really, this has improved so much. The only challenge at times is that sometimes getting on the internet, it may require you to subscribe using credit cards, using whatever, which some of them are still lacking, but there are some free apps that they are able to get online, and they can really get there and play. We even now have some tournaments online, which is amazing.
Right, and there's some free chess servers like Lee Chess right now is free. If somebody wants to play chess on the internet, they can play free as long as they have the bandwidth to be able to do it, and you can play players from all over the world. Now I bring a very important question. Is Kampala going to replace St. Louis as the chess capital of the world?
I think it's a possibility. There is a
challenge for you chess people.
Is Kampala going to be the chess capital of the world? I asked that since you guys know about Kampala.
Interesting.
That's capital of Uganda.
Chess capital of Uganda, yeah, right, okay. Yeah.
Let's talk about something else that's very exciting. Both of you have books.
Yes.
Did y'all do a book?
Let's hear about the books because we'll put the books up. Let's talk about the books. Yes. Upon Journey, and the other book is Robert. What's your book?
Okay. Night Without a Castle.
Okay.
Night Without a Castle.
Okay. Tell us about your books. How'd you get in these books? How'd the King of Katwe do the Night Without a Castle?
Yes, Night Without a Castle. Actually, it is a story of resilience and hope. I'm trying to really see how we encourage people who have faced through some adversities, and those who might, because these are some of the realities in life. Every one of us at one point, you always face tragedies, but how do you kind of gather and garner emotional strength to stand and try to generate positive energy through these tragedies? So this is what I'm trying to really address, sharing a little bit of my life, how I've really been able to struggle through. I don't know whether you are aware that part of sometimes I'm nicknamed the Fixer. Because
you're not I thought you were the King of Katwe. You're now the Fixer.
Yeah, but one of my other nicknames is a Fixer, because I try to figure out what works. If this doesn't work, what will work? How do we make this happen? So it's all about trying to look for the positivity in every situation of adversity and move on. It's also actually part 2 is also sharing about the lives that have been impacted through the chess program, because most people look at chess as a mere game, but for us, we're looking at chess as simply a tool of transformation to empower people through life skills, through character development, and allowing them to really realize their full potential in life and awaken the sleeping genius in each one of them.
Right. Yeah. And the founder of Napster and the founder of PayPal all grew out of the chess community, by the way, as well as the founder of Pegasystem, and so did Rick Branson. We can go on and on, but Elliot, tell us about your book. What's your book?
Pawn's Life. I read it actually. I finally finished it.
Talk to me about the Pawn's Journey.
Beautiful.
So A Pawn's Journey is a book that published in order to portray what we mean about chess for life. That it's not about the chess, it's the vehicle. And so it's a novel inspired by the true life stories of many of my students. And so many of them are portrayed in here and the lessons they learned and how they overcame adversity. And it's really incorporated into that main character. You know, I'm going to point back to one story right now about, again, from Katwe, from Robert Katenda, named Benjamin Mukumbia. Because this story of a young man who at 9 is in the slums, you know, and becomes one of the pioneers from the Queen of Katwe, ends up through a series of circumstances to be able to come to university here in the US. He's in his 3rd year of university as we speak today, and he's the student body president.
Wow.
Wow.
So how do you go from the slum to student body president?
Mm-hmm.
It's through the mindset and the shifting and the coaching of Robert Katenda.
Wow.
And the impact that that is making among students. So when you read Robert Katenda's book in the latter half and the stories, just like we put in novel form in my book, A Pun's Journey, right? This is really why we are involved in the game. We love chess, it's fun, it's engaging, it's a game of intellectual, sure. But more than that, it's a social impact vehicle. And that is what is, I believe, you know, the driver as to why we're both excited about the opportunity that's in front of us.
Okay, so we've got some great stories, some history about building up to where you are today, and all the wonderful things that you are experiencing today and sharing your experiences with others and inspiring them. But what's next, guys? I mean, to me, you're already my knights in shining armor. So, I mean, so share with me what's next.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kim, for the question. Actually, what is next for me, especially for the program that we have initiated in Uganda, is I have now, I would say maybe the 2nd generation of the youth, but those I started with, they are now young adults, youth, and yes, Uganda is actually majority of the population are all youth, and you find that they are all below 30 years, around 75% of them. So what I want to do is to do skilling by building a school. Number one, I'm now supporting children in school, but it's quite not easy and not sustainable. And the project I've now embarked on is I have already acquired land, 20 acres, to try to see that I can put up a very good school to offer quality education. And I'm really working towards raising the capital to initiate it.
And I heard that 40% has already been guaranteed.
Yep.
Wow. Okay, that's good.
Wow.
Yeah, so I still have
Is
60%.
that a matching, or has somebody already just put it up? That's amazing.
It is a guarantee that someone just said, oh, me, I will offer that with that vision. I will start to be able to meet 40% of that.
So we got you on TV. So real quick, how much more do you need?
Actually, we need now $160,000.
160,000. And so if you know who's got the matching donor to make this happen.
Yeah, sure.
Well, we're going to put this on air and we're going to just let it take fire.
IBMtv is broadcast worldwide, so we do have a worldwide audience. So that's pretty good.
We've got investors that watch our show.
With the chess skill, we are also trying to incorporate the computing. Like Elliot shared, when I brought Fiona and Benjamin in the US, they were enrolling in the college and it was their first time to use a computer. It was a struggle for the first year. So what I've done now is to do some vocational skills by trying to introduce coding and computing skills in the program. So we are working on establishing a computer training program, not only for the children in the program, but also to the community at large, because we are now living in a digital era and we don't have so much access to the computing skills. So this is another tremendous project I'm trying to work on. Currently, we have 12 laptops that we are using to train over 40 learners. So we work in shifts. And we hope that with this kind of support, we'll be able to really have a bigger center where we'll be able to equip people, and then they can possibly also be able to develop apps and different programs on computers as well.
Yeah, I would like to add to that. You know, this vision has been wonderful to see, from the land acquisition to getting some of the funding needed, and the vision of that school to be a leader in education there. What's beautiful is, as a social entrepreneur, Robert has had this vision. Being an engineer, he was able to put this together, that when it is complete, it will have 60% of the students will be paying and 40% will be 100% those kids from the slum who otherwise would never have an opportunity.
Right.
I heard that of the many, many students who have come through the Queen of Katwe project, 100% have risen and come through and graduated.
Do that. How many, I mean, it's amazing to me, but you know that these people are going to pay it forward. they're going to
Correct.
bring it back to where their foundation is, because you're building that foundation. And how wonderful. And you know, if I have someone that I know in your territory, how do they get a hold of you? How does somebody find out? How do they reach you, Robert?
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you very much, Kim, for the question. I have opened up 5013C.
501c3.
Yeah, enterprise. This is Robert Katenda Initiative, or robertkatenda.org. So you can be able to reach us through that website. In fact, we have even donation portal, and you can even somchessacademy.com. You can also get there. Still, it is intertwined. You can connect from one side to the other side, because these are both two entities, and you'll be able to reach us in any way possible. All the contacts, the emails are all available on the robertkatendainitiative.org.
All right. Okay. So we're running out of time. Any final comments, Elliot?
I just want to thank you, Nick and Kim, for airing this, doing this interview, helping spread the word and the awareness. Really appreciate you doing that. It's always a team effort. It's always a collaboration. It's like we say, better together. If you play chess with one piece, it does not work. It requires all these different pieces of differing abilities working together. And that's why connecting globally, connecting locally, together we can truly impact the future of the kids and education, and through that, the world we live in a great way.
Okay.
Brighter
Well,
future, right?
with that, we would like to thank Robert and Elliot for IBMtv, and of course all of our viewers worldwide listening to our show about Chess for Life, the King of Catway, and of course hopefully you look at get their books and get inspired. So thank you for watching.
I will say I've finished The Pawn's Journey. It's a beautiful book.
I'm getting those books. Okay. And thank you all for watching IBMtv.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Nick.